The Western world locates the mind inside the brain. They do not look at the mind outside the brain. But the fact is that even if we remove most of the external body parts, still the mind will continue to function unless a force destroys vital organs like the heart, the kidneys, the liver, and the brain itself. It comprises of the intellect, ego, and a host of memories. All these reside in the unseen body or the subtle body. What, after all, is mind? Mind is not a tangible organ. It is only a term used to describe a series of thoughts. Naturally, it follows that if we have no thoughts, then it is a state of no mind. We need to understand that the quality of our life depends on the quantity, velocity, and the quality of our thoughts. Mind is an energy. Mind is an energy field filled with thoughts, ideas, emotions, and feelings. It is said that human life is nothing but a struggle to learn to control the mind. If we could accomplish this, we would have accomplished the most difficult thing in the entire universe. But is it not strange that throughout our lives we are not taught anything about the mind, with which we have to live our whole life? Unable to be in the present, the mind is always either in the past or in the future, always regretting what is past and anxious about the future. Can the mind be cultivated? That is the next question. The mind is indeed a powerful tool residing within the body. It is a potential and powerful force of the human spirit. Its capacity to create its own misery is indeed phenomenal. But with some training, it could be trained to achieve balance. For instance, if a person is betrayed by another person, the person who is betrayed would start thinking of this happening as if it is the end of the world. This thought or hurt will go on in cyclical circles 100 or even 1,000 times. So while what happened occurred only once, but its repeated performance in the mind would become 1,000-fold, thereby creating enormous misery. Also, several times we start reading too much meaning in people's almost innocent actions and thereby create our own suffering by attaching more meaning to normal events. The mind tends to develop attachments to people, things, and situations. Like if in some isolated situation a person has behaved badly or created some harm to you, we may go on repeating it in our mind, so much so that we develop negative emotions resulting in feelings of aversion, negativity, resentment, and even hatred. The question then arises is that can the mind be made to react in ways that are equanimous and that it will not create suffering for itself? Actually, it certainly needs to be trained because it has within itself the capacity to suffer immensely. It can undergo enormous pain and sorrow when it gets agitated, but when it is calm and peaceful, it can revel in joy. When the mind gets agitated, it starts suffering from an excessive overload of poor quality thoughts. Poor quality thoughts interfere with the healthy regeneration of cells which keep dying and rejuvenating themselves. This is because unhealthy and unhappy thoughts depress the body functions owing to the shallow breathing that takes place, leading to lower intake of oxygen. Lower intake of oxygen depletes energy in the body and hinders the rejuvenation of the cells. These cells that keep dying and taking rebirth in the body. In other words, such thoughts certainly hinder the proper functioning of the body. The modern science is researching this subject, how the mind works, its potential and possibilities of modification by simply becoming aware of certain things and possibilities. Now a new science is emerging, that of psycho-spirituality. An important tool of spiritual science to train the mind is meditation. It is a tool to control and sharpen the restless and wayward mind, an art of going beyond thoughts. It is the art of looking at the mind objectively and see which of its mental contents are useful and which are not. When we reduce the quantity, intensity and velocity of thoughts, their quality starts to improve. For instance, if something extremely disturbing has happened during the day and you are unable to sleep in the night, then just try this experiment of taming the mind, which is keeping you awake and restless. Just get off the bed, sit on a chair, and just start to look at the thoughts. At first, they will come and strike you with rapid force, but gradually they will subside and will no longer be a source of agitation and disturbance. So how did this happen? This happened because by simply observing the thoughts objectively, they tend to lose their hold over us. They leave us alone. Once they leave us, they cannot trouble us anymore. Actually, what happens is that when we develop appropriate levels of focus and concentration, our energy that was focusing with intensity on just one aspect of our experience regains its balance and we again go back to sleep peacefully.